What's up, everyone? It's your host, Jonah. Welcome back to the Blue Collar Enlightenment Show, where we learn new things every episode through conversation with guests from all around America and around the globe. So hit that sub button so you can keep up with the journey. And sitting next to me is my beautiful co-host.
Hey, everybody, it's T. And today we have Bonnie Hardie. She is an international podcast guest, an advocate for empowering midlife women, coach of mindset, life, and gratitude, and a contributing author to 5 books. Welcome to the podcast, Bonnie. How are you doing?
Hey guys, thank you very much. Happy Sunday. I'm really glad to be here, and I hope to, enlighten everybody all over the world about what I advocate for and how to be more grateful and all sorts of cool things like that.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I am a mindset, life, and gratitude coach. I currently live in Central Florida. I empower midlife women to say bon voyage to the shackles in their mind. It stops them from living the life of their dreams. I'm also a contributing author in 5 Amazon best-selling books. I am a podcast guest coach, which means I help other people get to be on podcasts and get their story out. So I have all sorts of cool things going on in my life, and I just, like to talk to people all over the world about, what I like to do and get my story out and get other people's story out in the world.
Awesome. Just to fill everybody in, there's a little bit of background noise going on. Bonnie's in a coffee shop, so we're doing our interview like that. But anyway.
So what exactly does it mean to be a mindset, life, and gratitude coach?
Okay, well, a life coach, they help people to get where they want to be in their life. Like find the right path, learn about what's going on in the background in their life when they're younger. And sometimes stuff happens in your life. Maybe when you're younger, you like to sing a lot, and people say, "Oh, you were too loud. You're not a good singer," And then when you get older, that stays in your mind. So I help them decide on, what they want to do with their life. Gratitude there's not a lot of gratitude coaches out there. And I just work with people to show them how to appreciate what they do have, don't dwell on what they don't have, reframe their negatives into positives. Mindset coaching, that's an important one, because your mindset is really important for everything to get you through life being positive. And, you have to have the like, know, and trust factor, but you also can't always worry about what other people are thinking about you. You want to be authentic in your own life, and you want to just, do what you do. And as long as you're doing very good and, you stay positive, because you also have to think that no matter how bad things are for you, there's always going to be somebody that has it worse. And as long as you wake up every morning, how many people didn't even wake up this morning? As long as you have a bed to sleep in, a bathroom to use, a refrigerator, all sorts of stuff like that, you're doing good. And we talked about this last week when we did our meet and greet, we met each other. I am actually homeless right now, and I have been homeless for several months. I was in a hostile environment that was just going to get worse, so I ended up leaving that. And even though I don't have a bed to sleep in, I sleep on a concrete bench. But I'm grateful that at least even though I'm on a concrete bench, I'm not sleeping on the ground, or I'm not sleeping in grass or in dirt. So at least I am elevated up above the ground. I just have to watch out for sprinklers coming on. And as an example of reframing a negative to a positive, obviously a negative is that I'm homeless and I'm sleeping outside. However, how I turn that into a positive is I say, look, I'm outside, I'm getting fresh air every night. I get to see the moon and the stars, and I'm learning about astronomy. So there's always going to be almost always going to be a way to change a negative into a positive. So, and I have this little saying that I use for mindset, using the first letters of the word mindset. Mindset is knowledge during setbacks. Everything is terrific. So even though things are bad, they're going to get better. And the name of my business is Rock Solid Mindset, Life, and Gratitude Coaching. And you can be at rock bottom, but you're eventually going to be rock solid. So every time something bad happens, try to be grateful that something better is going to happen. And when good things are happening, remember how you felt when things weren't as good. And if you put good stuff out to the world, you're going to eventually get good stuff back to you.
So, what type of expertise are you going to bring to the table for a client?
There's different types of expertise that I bring to the table. I can't give them specific examples of how to have a positive mindset, how to reframe their negatives. I can also talk about like the mindset blocks that they have, where they might not want to do something that they really want to do. They have like this kind of blockage where they're afraid to put themselves out there and afraid to do stuff. So I talk them through that. We see where that blockage comes from. And, I'm a very empathetic person, and I've been through a lot myself. And, I'm saying to myself, if I can do everything that I'm doing being homeless, I can really show other people how to get through what's going on in their life so they can move on. So I'm pretty empathetic. I'm pretty sympathetic. I understand a lot of things. So I just try to bring my expertise and my training and talking to people all over the world on a regular basis, how to improve their life and their mindset and their personal development.
Yeah, something that I always tell myself is, if you're a diehard listener to me, you've heard me say this a few times, is that, your biggest obstacle is yourself. You have to get out of your own way to get what you want.
Most definitely.
So is there a saying or a piece of advice that is universal to, say, all the clients that you would speak to?
Yes, usually I do. I do like to say a lot. Let's reframe your negatives into positives. And I do like to say, let's look towards the future. What are your future goals? Hey, Cat. What are your future goals? What is it you want to do? And, basically let's just go over everything, and let's just reframe all your negatives into positives so you can look at it from a different viewpoint.
Yeah, sorry, people. There was a little bit of purring going on. One of our kitties decided to come.
I'm a cat person. It's fun. I love cats.
That was really loud. I wasn't expecting it to be that loud.
That was distracting a little bit. So, how do you keep your mindset right while listening and advising other people?
I just try to keep my mindset right because I know that I am helping them, and I know that what I say and what I've gone through can inspire them and motivate them to get on with their life and to basically live the life of your dreams. And sometimes people are like, well, what does that mean to live the life of your dreams? Well, that's different for everybody. Some people want to travel a lot. Some people want to read a lot. Some people want to go out and be with friends. So you need to think about what makes you happy, what lights you up, and do more of that. And what doesn't make you happy, what makes you upset, do less of that.
So what is one thing that keeps you motivated and not whenever you have your own down spots to keep helping other people?
What keeps me motivated is that I know that I'm not going to be in this position forever. And I get a lot of private messages and emails. People saying, I really admire what you're doing. You got the best perseverance. And I was feeling really bad. And I saw you post something and it made me feel a lot different. So I do have coping mechanisms. If stuff gets bad, I do have a few close friends that I talk to. We have code words. It's like, if I know I'm going off the wrong way and I get real upset, they know how to bring me back. But I'm also like, hey, I have people looking up to me. And I have people I'm an example to them. It's like, my gosh, if Bonnie can do this at 58 years old with bad knees and being homeless and having to sleep on a concrete bench, and she's, I just made a post earlier today that yesterday I was I'm at a big nice church group and they gave me a whole bunch of food, they gave me a new bag, they gave me different things, stuff like that, and then I was able to pay it forward and give some of that stuff to other people. I say, hey, I've got these chips, I've got these hot dogs, I've got these toilet seats. If you want them, take them. So, even though I'm not in the best shape myself with certain things, I know how it feels to not have toiletries and not be able to eat for a couple of days. So I always pay it forward to other people who are in worse shape than I am.
You're a big advocate of the homeless population in America and probably around the world, right? So what's kind of your message to people?
Um, with people being homeless, there's a lot of different ways that people can help. And there are people that don't mind being homeless and they've been that way for a long time and they just do everything on their own. And some people, I mean, sometimes one or two decisions that you make can mess you up completely. And just like people are asking for a hand out, not a hand up. If you see a homeless person, offer them like a bottle of water. Offer them a couple of dollars. Just say, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? What's your story? Don't ignore people. I made a YouTube video a while back and said, I'm homeless, not hopeless. My name is Bonnie, not Bum. It's like, there's been times that people have been really doing stuff that means said stuff to me, but I've also had people laying on the bench come over and say, hey, here's hot chocolate, here's some snacks, here's a couple dollars. So, if you ask me what's going on, I'll tell you. There's certain things that are kind of personal I won't get into with a lot of people. But it's like, some stuff happens and it happens, and just be respectful to people and think about, if, I am somebody's daughter, I'm somebody's aunt, I'm somebody's sister. And think about that if that was just your sister, your daughter, your mother that was in that position. How would you want people to treat them? How would you want to be treated if you were in that position? So I'm looking to talk to people about how we can get stuff together to help people, because a lot of homeless people, they might not have access to, they don't have like a driver's license, ID, social security card. They might not know how to get on the computer to fill out an application to get a job. So I'm looking to see if there's something I can do with that to help homeless people be able to get themselves off of the street, be able to join the gym so they can work out and get a shower there. Little tiny things like that. That's what I'm trying to really help with a lot of people.
And one of your goals is to travel, correct? And you're wanting to get out and about and get out there to experience other things. How far have you traveled so far?
A few years ago, I traveled to England. I flew over there for 2.5 weeks. I've been wanting to go back since then, but I went in 2019, so in 2020, you know what happened then. So I'm hoping to be able to go next year. And what I want to do is I want to be able to buy a van, a cargo van, fix it up on the inside so I can live in it, and travel around the United States and Canada, be a inspirational speaker, a motivational speaker, tell my story at different places, and help the homeless and disadvantaged in the areas that I go to. And eventually I want to do the same thing internationally too. So, people come to meet me and just bring some food, bring some clothes, whatever. I'm going to write my own book pretty soon, and proceeds from that are going to go to help the homeless and disadvantaged and bullied people too. I'm a real advocate against bullying and judging people also.
Yeah, we're pretty big advocates on the anti-bullying ourselves. What is one of the most important things to remember when you're talking with someone personally one-on-one?
Important thing to remember to respect them, to think about their story, that they are looking at things, the same things as you, but they're looking at it differently because of their background. Maybe they were raised differently than you. Maybe they had a bad childhood. Maybe they had things happen to them. Maybe they had domestic violence. Maybe they had people just being rude all the time. So just because they don't react the same way you react to a certain situation doesn't mean they're wrong and you're right. Doesn't mean you're right and they're wrong. All that kind of stuff. So I always remember to be as respectful as possible to people and think about their story and how I can help them get through just the blocks in their mind to stop them from just going on and living the life that they really want to live. That's going to make them happy. I want people to wake up every morning and be happy that they're still alive and they're going to go out and meet friends and do things and not get into a rut and do the same thing day after day after day. It's like Groundhog Day,
Yeah, sorry, we had a bang just happen.
Our cat ran into this mirror.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, what were we talking about? So what's kind of one of the places that you are really looking to travel to, say, overseas? What's your dream place to go to?
Well, I want to go back to England. I have a lot of friends in England. I want to see them again. And I want to go to Scotland. My family is from Scotland. And last year for my birthday, I bought a very small plot of land at a Scottish castle. And I actually have the title lady. So I have a certificate that says I am Lady Bonnie S. Hardie of Blaradam. So I don't know if having the title lady is going to get me anywhere, but I do have that title. I do have like a 2-inch by 2-inch square plot of land in Scotland. So I'm a landowner in Scotland. So I want to go visit my land in Scotland and take a picture and stuff like that. So I definitely want to visit England and Scotland and then Ireland and all over the place, Australia, Canada.
That's the ultimate dream, right? Travel around.
Oh, yeah.
So what does it mean to be a podcast guest coach?
Okay, to be a podcast guest coach, what I do is I just started a program doing that where I will be getting clients that I want to help them get their story out on different podcasts. We find out what their story is, what they can talk about the most, their area of expertise, to make sure that they get on the right podcast. I'll show them what to look for when people post in podcasts, what type of guests they're looking for, how to fill out the application properly so they will get picked to be on the podcast, how to decide on what questions they want to talk about, questions they want to get answered, the topics they want to talk about, do mock interviews with them, and just I guarantee that in the program they're going to be getting podcast interviews set up. Talk to them about what their one sheet is, where it explains who they are, what they do, their expertise, what they can talk about. When they do like a meet and greet, when they talk to the host beforehand, so they can go over and get to know each other and break the ice a little bit. So each coaching session type thing, the whole program, it's going to be set up a little bit different for each person depending on who they are, where they are. If they've never done podcast guesting before, if they've never written a book, or if they're experienced in doing that or speaking, I can be a little bit more advanced with them. But I've helped a few people already be on podcasts, so I'm looking to help more with my paid program for that.
So is there a podcast guest etiquette? Because I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, the etiquette is just, try to be on time depending on how technology works. Make sure that if there's something you don't want to talk about, make sure that the host knows that so they don't ask you that question. If there's something you do want to talk about, make sure you let the host know so they will talk about that. Kind of get a feel for how long it's going to be. If you're going to be doing a lot more of the talking, if they're going to be interviewing you, how it's going to work. So just, and try to, follow up with them and let them know how it went and stuff, give feedback to them, have them give feedback to you so you know where you need to improve and things like that. And the case to me when I have to be outside and stuff, or I've got all sorts of stuff going on, I am pretty good about letting the podcast get hold that, there might be noise in the background. Unfortunately, it's in my position. I can only do so much about it. Sometimes it's pretty quiet. Sometimes it's crazy. Just kind of give them, a heads up. And, make sure that you know when the podcast is going to come out. Because what I like to do, too, is, after, but hey, I was interviewed by so-and-so in this podcast. And this is what we talked about. And then it's going to come out over here. So people can get excited about it. Say, hey, look, that sounds really, really cool. And I also make sure that they know to only apply for certain podcasts. Because if I'm a mindset, life, and gratitude coach, and your podcast is specializing in talking to guys who are 25 who play sports, I'm not going to be a good fit. I'm wasting my time by filling out the application. Now you have to read my application and take 20 minutes of your time. And oh, that's no good. So I'd rather that the podcast guests apply to 5 podcasts and be a perfect fit for 5 and get much more chance of being on the podcast than just throwing spaghetti at the wall, applying for 50, and then we're wasting your time because you're not, not going to be a good guest. And then if you keep seeing my name pop up, that, I'm just applying for everything, you're like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. But if I can be more centered in and they say, man, this person, they really know what they're talking about with this. And, being on podcasts, it leads to collaborations. It leads to international and national, like getting your name out there. And it could lead to, being on in more podcasts or asked to be in groups. And if people see that you are on a lot of podcasts, they're pretty good. They know what they're talking about because these people would keep having their podcasts, or they would be guests on all these different podcasts if they didn't know what they were talking about. So just mainly the best etiquette I have to say is make sure your area expertise is what the podcast host is looking for. So you don't waste their time and they don't waste your time. You don't want to waste anybody's time. Every time is money now. So, and you only have so many podcasts people put out, and they don't want to be wasting time having you on. And if they say, hey, check out this or this, do your homework beforehand so you know what you're going to talk about. So you're not just, I do get like that sometimes, even though I do my homework, I sometimes forget what I want to talk about. But just the best etiquette is to try to be on time, depending on tech, and make sure that what you're talking about is what is a good fit for that podcast host.
Babe, there's an application.
For what?
For being a podcast guest.
Oh, really?
I
wasn't in here for that. I'm sorry. I had to step out.
That's why I'm bringing you up to speed. But she was talking about there's an application.
That's odd. I did not know that.
Yeah. So that's crazy because I just reach out to people. I just send them a message. That's crazy. So how do you find these people that want to be on podcasts? Just a network that you have?
Yeah, it's I'm in some podcast groups, and there's people, like you, that you're looking to find a guest. And there's people like me that are looking to be a guest. So, I can, look for the people that are looking to be a guest. And sometimes I've reached out to people and I've kind of given them a little bit of tips on how to like write out what they're looking for. Because you say, hey, I want to be a podcast guest. Like, well, which area of expertise? I've got to be specific in what I can do, what I can talk about. So you might see that and say, oh, okay, you're a perfect fit. But just to say, hey, look, I'm a mindset coach and I want to be on your podcast, kind of give a little bit more context about what I can talk about more, what my area of expertise is, and just be specific. Because I'm at the point now where I've got people coming to me about being on their podcast and being in their group and stuff like that. So that gives me a little more leeway because I can start picking and choosing where I want to be. So that works good, for me, because sometimes people have reached out to me and they were so disorganized. They had no clue. They're like, I just talk about any old thing. It's like, well, I could talk to you about wrestling. I could talk to you about country music, but I don't want it to really be on those types of podcasts right now because I need to get known for my mindset, life, gratitude coaching and podcast guest coaching. So, and I want to talk about advocacy and sometimes even domestic violence and stuff like that, how people treat others. But I don't want to go too far into other realms and stuff like that because people will get confused. Well, she was talking about this over this week and this week and this week and that this week and this week. What can she talk about? So I want to be more of a specialist than a generalist in general. If somebody's really cool, they really want to talk about wrestling, I'll be on their podcast because I can talk about wrestling for 5 hours. I can talk about country music and music for a long time. But I just want to be more of a general specialist so people know when I can talk about how I can help them with their podcast.
That's awesome. So what's the future of your coaching and what goals are you aiming to achieve? So what is the future of your coaching and what's the goals you aim to achieve?
The future of my coaching is to be mainly working with people who want to be on podcasts, and who want to. I have another program called Vision for Your Life, where I can find a vision board in the Wheel of Life. We color code the Wheel of Life, so that when we do the vision board, they know exactly what it is they want to capitalize on. And we're getting to the end of 2022. We're starting 2023 in like 2.5 months. So how can I help them or anybody end 2022 on a high note? And how can I help you start 2023 on a high note? What are your goals in your own life for next year? So with my 2 programs, I want to build them up with proper clients. I want to be able to really specialize in being on more podcasts and things like that. So, next year travel around and do podcasts like live in somebody's office or something like that. Be on a live interview together with them, talking about what I can talk about, and doing like live Facebook videos saying, hey, I'm going to be talking at this place over here. So come out and, have a meet and greet. You'll learn about this or that or the other. You can buy my book. You can help the homeless and disadvantaged in your area. People don't really realize don't always know about that. So this way, I can get my word out to a lot more people, nationwide, worldwide.
That's awesome. Well, we're rooting for you over here.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick ad break and be right back. This episode of the Blue Collar Enlightenment Show is brought to you by Andrea Mason, the global voice.
Andrea's mission is to help groups and individuals achieve rapid growth and personal freedom. Andrea helps her clientele go from victim to victorious.
Escape the perpetual storm by creating your path to clear skies and personal growth. Plan a life according to you. Andrea invites you to take the first step. Press play and visit AndreaMasons.com.
Use the promo code The BCE Show for your free consultation and change your life today. So, what all do you advocate for?
I advocate for helping the homeless, and I advocate against bullying because, there's people getting bullied all the time about different things, and that's not really cool. That hurts their self-esteem. And sometimes people who have been bullied a lot, that's when they go postal, so to speak. And I never ever want to be a part of hearing that somebody went postal or they even committed suicide because they were being bullied about whatever. And I also, advocate against homelessness because I don't want to see anybody on the street that doesn't want to be on the street. Right. There's, so many resources that can be available, that need to be available to help people. And what you need to do is you need to meet people where they're at. You need to see exactly what type of help it is that they need. Some people need to have help getting, an ID, social security card, birth certificate set up. Some people need help with learning how to be doing things online because you fill out everything online anymore. Some people need help with getting food stamps. Some people need help with learning how to do a professional interview to get a job. So just see what people need the most and help them there, and just talk to people. So all they want to do is know that people care about them. Because I live in Central Florida, we just had Hurricane Ian come through 2-3 weeks ago, and it was like, what if something would have happened to me? What if luckily I was able to get accommodations for a few days? What if I couldn't have done that? I mean, there was cars in parking lots that were floating away because some places the water was 5 feet tall, 4 feet high. Yeah. A lot of people died in that. And it's like, what if something would have happened to me? Would anybody notice? Would anybody care? No, you never, ever, ever want to feel that way that nobody cares about you, because that is not cool. That's when you go too much to the dark side. So that's why I advocate so much for helping people have a positive mindset, and for helping the homeless, and for helping people who have been bullied, and say, hey, because you have this saying, hurt people. And it's like, just because people did stuff to you doesn't mean you need to turn right around and do that to other people, because how did you feel that was done to you? And now you can do that to somebody else. You also have to think that no matter who the person is, like I said earlier, there's somebody's daughter, sister, mother, cousin, aunt, father, brother, son. Do you want that to be somebody that was talked to like that? So just, think about how you come across to people, and nobody's better than anybody else. Yeah, you might have a nicer house, you might have a nice car, you might have a lot of money in your bank account, but hey, how many books have you co-authored that are Amazon bestsellers? How many podcasts have you been on? So I have that in my favor. So you don't want to be cocky, don't think, nothing's gonna happen to me. It's like, I don't know. I just advocate for people being polite to other people and showing respect and not acting like you need stuff. Because if I would be acting all the time, like, oh my gosh, I'm homeless, poor, pitiful me, somebody help me. People don't want to see that. But when they see me out there busting my butt, working on getting clients, working on helping other people, when I get stuff, I pay it forward. People are more likely to want to help me out or share my story or do something like that,
Right.
So how long have you been homeless?
Since February 21st of this year. So next week it will be 10 months, I think. No, 8 months. So I'm hoping it's not going to be too much longer. Things have been getting a little better, and I really, don't want to celebrate Thanksgiving being homeless. So I'm working really hard to get enough money to get a roof over my head. And I'm actually in this contest called Fab Over 40 because I'm in the second age group for 50 to 59. And right now I'm fourth place. And the winner gets $40,000. They get a 2-page spread in New Beauty magazine, and they get a spotcation. And I'm thinking out, and I'm writing out stuff. If I won, what would I do with the money? Besides, get myself a roof over my head for a few months and get my credit cards paid off. I can help the homeless people here to get a gym membership so they can take a shower. Get them a bus pass. Get them food. Get them clothes. Get them a hotel for a couple nights. I mean, how many people could I help with $40,000? And then that's like a snowball effect, where I help 20 people, they help 20 people, they help 20 people. So, it goes on a long time with that. So it's like, I'm really busting my butt trying to get more votes and stuff like that. Last week I was number 10, and this morning I found out I was number 4. So I'm like, yeah, awesome. So I'm working hard to get more votes. You can vote once a day. I will send you the link to that to vote for me. And if you want to, and I'm going to post about it this week and stuff like that. So I was like, that would be like the coolest thing ever. My friends in England would probably hear me scream if I found out I won. That's how loud I would scream. So I'm we're rooting for you. Let's do this. So yeah. I'm not sure how I got into the contest or whatever, but I'm in it. I'm number 4 right now in my age group of 50 to 59. So I'm really excited.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, send us the link. We'll go vote.
Yeah, we'll go vote for you.
You can vote once every 24 hours, so vote every day.
We will.
Thank you.
We got time. Sometimes.
So have you felt since being homeless you're a little more free to think about the things that you need to do as a coach in your future versus having all those responsibilities at, your bills and things like that? Has it helped you kind of along the way?
Yes, it has helped me a little bit because I'm more, empathetic to other people's situations. And it makes me be more creative, in doing coaching calls with people, doing podcasts. I have to be creative to go different places, and you never know what's going to happen in the background. They could be putting the bagels through the bagel slicer, kids start screaming, ambulance could go by. So, but it's made me be a lot more creative and figuring out how to do this. But I'm also like, look, if I can do all this stuff while being homeless, not getting a lot of sleep, not being able to eat properly, being in pain from arthritis in my knees, what do you think I could do when I have a bed to sleep in, when I could do this in my own room and have nothing going on in the background, so I could get, better headphones and stuff like that? It's like, I could totally blow up and be even more effective than I am. And I've done a lot of podcasts. I've probably done 30 or so this year.
Wow.
And I can really, if I can do 30 podcasts being homeless, how many more podcasts do you think I can do when I have all this stuff? And I'm like, well, what's your excuse?
Right.
there's not a whole lot of things you can say that I don't have, and I can say something back against that. It's like, oh, well, I don't get a lot of sleep. Well, I sleep on a concrete bench. You really think I get a lot of sleep? We're like a mile away from a hospital, so there's constantly ambulances and police cars going by. I can't cook anything or keep anything. So what kind of food do you think I can eat? And cookies and chips aren't good for you. That's why I'm 250 pounds. I'm also in a fitness transformation contest to try to lose weight, so I can, that will help with walking. So I have a lot of cool things I'm doing. I'm like, I've got all the puzzle pieces together. I'm like right there. We just got to put them all in the right spot. And then one of the best posts I'll ever make would be telling somebody I have a roof over my head for at least 2 to 3 months. That post is going to totally explode and have all sorts of comments and likes, and just telling people, hey, check this out. I have a place to stay for the holidays. Even though it doesn't get too cold in Florida, it still gets cold. I mean, there's times that it's 30 to 40 degrees in the morning, and all I have is a sheet to cover me with. So, so I'm ready to get going and get a roof over my head and just, use my experiences to help others all over the world.
Yeah.
What makes you so passionate about your advocacy and your coaching?
What makes me so passionate about it, it's because I've lived it. I'm living it. I've known people that have lived it. I don't want to keep seeing people live like this. And, some people get beat down by being bullied. Some people get beat down by being homeless. And I've seen people that have been homeless, sometimes even only 3 months. And I can see the fire leaving their eyes. I can see that they're getting to the point where they're really, really, depressed, and they don't see a way out. They're like, what else do I need to do? I'm such a nice person. Why am I homeless? What is going on? Why are people treating me like this? And I get kind of worried because I don't want anything to happen to them,
Well, that's an awesome thing that you want to help people and make sure that, their spirits stay high, especially being out there in that kind of situation that you're in and working so hard to push through it. That's awesome to see. And we hope to see the best out of it.
Oh, for sure. We're rooting for you.
So
I got a quick favor for you guys. One of the things I always do for when I'm doing on podcasts is I always want to take a picture so then I can post it later on my Facebook page to promote the podcast later on. So do you mind if we do that real quick?
I don't mind. She has yet to come out to people.
Yeah.
Jonah, you need to move your microphone away from your face a little bit so we can see what you look like. All right, let me get this started. Smile big, guys. All right, perfect. Because that's one of the things I tell people. I'm going to tell people during my coaching program is try to advertise the podcast pretty much as soon as you get on it. Let people know within a few days that you did this podcast, and I tag you in the post, and then that gets your info out too. That, hey, they did this other podcast, and check this out and stuff. So that helps boost your algorithm and boost my algorithm and stuff. So that's like one little trick that I tell people to do to help everybody out as much as possible.
Oh yeah, the algorithm is a beast itself.
Yeah.
So, what has been the most enlightening moment of your life?
I've had a few enlightening moments. Probably when somebody one time was upset because I wasn't defending them over a certain situation, and they got really mad and they started calling me nasty names, like an F and A-hole and a loser and a liar. And they got really mad because they were just looking right in my eyes saying all this stuff to me, and I didn't even react. I just looked at them, and I'm like, made him even more pissed off because I wasn't reacting. And that showed me that person's true character, and it really showed me that I can't be worrying about what other people think about me, because what you think about me is what you're going through at that time. A couple of days later, he apologized for the way he acted. And if I would have gotten all upset, it would have made the situation even worse. So it really enlightened me to just don't take the bait when people say stuff to you. They're looking for a fight. They're looking for stuff. And they're just so pissed off at themselves for something they did that they're trying to turn everything around and they put it on you. So I'm like, okay, if that's the way you feel, that's the way you feel. It's fine. And then they thought about it like, man, I really acted like a jerk. I apologize. So, you point your finger at somebody, there's 3 more fingers pointing back at you. So always take what other people say to you, especially if they're mad. Take it with a grain of salt because you don't really know what they're going through. Just don't make the situation worse. So it is enlightening to see how people react when they get pissed off, they get defensive. So let it just roll right off your back. You do your thing, I do my thing, and whatever. So I guess that's one of my most enlightening moments.
That would be pretty enlightening, yeah.
Yeah, personal growth.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. And remember always to unlock your cage. You have the key. So unlock your cage and let yourself out. Get out of your own way.
That's right, get out of your own way.
I've never heard you say that before. Where'd you
It's
get
a
that?
twist. It's a twist. I was working with Andrea Mason, and it just kind of popped to me. I was like, man, that's genius. Yeah. But anyway.
I just never heard you say that before.
Yep. Pretty enlightening, huh?
Personal growth.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. We enjoyed this conversation. You're always welcome to come back on whenever you're ready.
Perfect. I look to be on it later on when I have my own place. And I look to actually see you guys in person in Oklahoma when I do my tour next year. And we can do a live podcast right then and there too. So let me know if there's anything I can do to help you guys, anything you need. And thank you very much again for having me on your podcast. I do appreciate it, Jonah.
Oh, yeah. And right back at you. If you need anything, just let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Reach out to us. We don't have any problems helping out.
You're part of the network now. You're part of the blue collar crew.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. It's been awesome. So that's all the time we have for today. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Just type in the Blue Collar Enlightenment Show and at the BCE Show on Twitter. Give us a follow and remember to give us a rate and review. It helps the podcast be found. Thanks for listening.
Bye.